Okay, my name is Ryan Smith Miller. I'm a member of Team CSFP and a coach of Team CSFPs, and I have been since August of 2014. Now, when I first talked to Tina on the phone, I could tell that we were going to be a great fit together. Our styles are similar, we care about the people that we work with, and me being given this opportunity to work with Team CSFP has been great from the start. So I'm not always going to be able to talk to everybody in one room at the same time like I can right now. So I just want to say thanks to Tina and Eric, Brandy and Rayma, and everybody else in the audience for always being welcoming to me when I show up in person at the team shows. It's just been a great overall experience, and I can tell that this team is just full of what I would call and what I like to call just real people. You guys are down to earth, you have great values, and you're also not afraid to work hard physically and mentally for the things that you want. So thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of such an excellent team. Now I'd like to get on with my presentation. Enough of that soft, sappy stuff, because what I really like to talk about is muscle growth and how that applies to everybody in this room, not just bodybuilders, not just physique competitors. Everybody in this room, whether you're a bikini competitor, physique, or bodybuilding competitor, muscle growth applies to you, and it's going to help you look your best on stage. And I want to talk about ways to improve your programming and build your programming better to get you more muscle on stage, which is going to result in more trophies, a more impressive stage presence, and eventually turning pro. All right, so let's get on with topic number one. So this room is not this room literally, but this room out here is full of competitors. Now, it's full of bikini competitors, figure competitors, physique and bodybuilding competitors. And the common theme that every competitor needs to focus on is stage presence, looking their best on stage. Now, looking your best on stage comes down to a few different things. You have the overall stage presence. Are you confident? Are you positive? Do you have great posing? Obviously, if you're working with Tina, Eric, or Rayma, you guys have great posing. That goes without saying. Now, to also have a great stage presence, what you need is an ideal body composition. So you have to be lean enough. You have to fit into your division. You have to be tight and full at the same time. But also, as a third point to having your ultimate stage presence, what you need to do is you need to have enough muscle to have that shape for your division and that symmetry for your division. And so what I want to talk about today is having enough muscle and growing enough muscle to look your best on stage, place in your competition, and turn pro. Now, poorly developed muscles are less shapely, they're less impressive, and they're not going to give you that prize-winning result that you're all after. So you need to pay attention to these topics today so you can continue or start growing the muscle that you need to do better and to do your best on stage. From my experience in talking with hundreds of different people that are into fitness and training, probably even thousands of people, I mean, I'm kind of a big deal, so maybe millions. Everyone's experienced the basic programs out there, which call for week after week of the same old stuff, 3 sets of 12 reps, 3 sets of 12 reps, 3 sets of 12 reps with the same exercises. It's very mundane, and truthfully, I mean, it's going to bore you out of your mind. And so I'm going to teach you about 3 aspects of training that will help you step up your muscle growth and keep you from wanting to, for lack of better words, kill yourself due to boredom. So the first topic is 1 rep max percentage-based programming. And to me, this is advancing your training game. This is moving past that mundane X number of sets by X number of reps, repetitive boredom that a lot of you guys are experiencing. So 1 rep max programming is exactly what its name implies. It's a method of determining how much weight to lift for exercises in your training program based on the 1 rep max for those exercises. So before going any further, I think it's going to be important for me to outline what I mean by 1 rep max. So 1 rep max is the amount of weight that you're able to lift for 1 rep with any exercise. If you can squat 200 pounds for a clean rep, but anything over 200 pounds just leaves you stapled to the floor like this guy, then 200 pounds is your squat 1 rep max. Let's do another one. So if you can pull 275 pounds on the deadlift, but anything above 275 pounds leaves you looking like this guy who's trying to swing Thor's hammer, clearly 275 pounds is your 1 rep max on the deadlift. So I think you get my point, and you also know what a 1 rep max is now that I've gone over it. So 1 rep max percentage-based programming ensures a few important things. It ensures repeated progress through a planned approach, and that planned approach continually moves you forward in terms of training volume and strength levels, which are extremely important. Remember, all stage competitors build their bodies through increased muscle growth and increased strength. And you're stage competitors, and that's why this is important for you. 1 rep max percentage-based programming removes the guesswork associated with figuring how much weight to lift every time you walk into the gym. So everything is mapped out in advance, and that's actually really important. That's a very important benefit to percentage-based programming. Essentially, as Tina likes to say with this popular Team CSFP meme, you walk in, you kick ass, you leave. Okay? Now, percentage-based programming also, it keeps your training days exciting. If you're bored with your training and you're bored with your programming, what's going to happen is you're not going to try as hard. And there's going to be a lot of days where you might even just skip the gym entirely because nobody wants to go do something that they're bored with. And so there's actually a lot of people that come to me and talk about boring programming, and it's actually a pretty big problem. And so 1 rep max percentage-based programming is part of that fix. Percentage-based programming can be applied to programming in multiple ways. There's many different variations that a person can utilize. And so what I'd like to do today is I want to teach you guys about my preferred method of implementing percentage-based programming, and that's known as weekly linear periodization. Now, weekly linear periodization, what it does is it's going to force you to progress in strength and muscle growth through different cycles. Now, each cycle contains generally 3 to 4 different steps, and those steps have a ramping effect. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. At the end of step 4, that completes what I call a microcycle. Now, what you do is, at the end of the microcycle, you assess your progress, you move yourself forward, and that was a little bit ridiculous. You assess your progress, you move yourself forward, and then you restart that ramping effect with a new microcycle. So this is best explained with an example, which I'd like to pan into right now and just talk about as you can see it on the screen. As you can see with the example, week 1 is taking you through your lightest week, and this is 8 to 12 reps for around 3 sets. And that is based on 60% of your 1 rep max. So this is where our percentage-based programming comes in. And the 3rd set in GST programming is done for as many reps as possible, and that's also known as AMRAP. So then you have week 2 at 6 to 10 reps for 3 sets, and that's at 70%. And then you have week 3 for 3+ reps for another 3 sets, but the weight load is increased. It's more intense. It's at 80%, and the AMRAP stays in play at all times. And then you have your 4th week. It's your peak of each microcycle, and a microcycle is just the smallest period of time in a training program. So then you have week 4, which is 1+ reps for another 3 sets with the most intense weight of the microcycle at 90% of your 1 rep max. And so you can see how all those weeks are based on a percentage of your 1 rep max. Now what you do is after week 4 you advance, and you advance by moving forward your 1 rep maxes for all the exercises using percentage-based programming, and then you repeat that cycle. Now when you increase your 1 rep max, you can do it by just manually increasing it by around 5 to 10 pounds per microcycle, no matter what. Or you can use a 1 rep max calculation based on the weight moved and the reps completed from your 4th week. And that's going to give you a new 1 rep max, and that's the 1 rep max that you use going forward. So then what you do is you just repeat that 4-week cycle with your new numbers. And so as you can see, this is an example of weekly linear periodization, and this has 4 steps: week 1, 2, 3, and 4. So each week increases the weight being lifted and decreases the reps per set. What this does is it builds strength through multiple rep ranges, all the way from 8 to 12 reps to near maximal strength of 1+ reps. And so every time you increase your 1 rep max and start a new cycle, what you do is you increase your training volume throughout every week of that new cycle. And this results in muscle gain, and that's key here. So training volume increase equals muscle growth, which as competitors, you need that to look amazing on stage, and you need that to take home trophies, and you need that to turn pro. This is why I include periodization in all GST programming. It's an important concept, it's a working concept, and it's a very effective concept. And it's going to apply to anybody in this room that's capable of lifting weights. I ended this segment talking about multiple rep ranges and how using this periodization scheme is going to increase your strength and training volume in multiple rep ranges. So I want to move on to the benefits of each of 3 rep ranges: low reps, medium reps, and high reps. So let's get into those topics next. Starting with high rep training. Now high rep training for this conversation means that we're talking about sets that include around 20 reps. So this set rep scheme is focused on accomplishing 4 important goals and delivering 4 important benefits to you. Number 1 is increasing muscular endurance or athletic conditioning. Sometimes when you're on stage, you have to pose and you have to flex for minutes on end. Now, muscular endurance is important for you in that regard. High rep training helps to improve muscular endurance. It also helps to build up a tolerance to the pain associated with the burn of training. So when you're doing a long set of continuous reps, what happens is the acidity in your muscles increases. And what that does is it results in the burning sensation that you feel. And a lot of times you have to stop because of that burn. Now, if you practice high rep training on a regular basis and you become more tolerant to that burn, what you can do is you can push harder through more reps during those high and medium rep sets and increase your training volume and increase your muscle growth as a result. And now the third benefit is that it enhances your mind-muscle connection. High reps means a lot of practice, and the burn associated with high reps means that it's a signal. It's telling your body just what muscle groups are being activated, which muscle groups are working. If they're burning, they're working. And so when you have the burn and you have that signal during high rep sets, you can improve that mind-muscle connection because you can feel and know just where you're working, and you can know exactly which muscles to think about. So it's practice for that mind-muscle connection. And number 4, deloading the joints and tendons. If you want to train stronger for longer and you don't want to be walking around injured all the time, what you have to do is you need to be responsible with your training programming. You have to have periods of lighter weights, and high reps naturally demand the use of lighter weights relative to medium or low rep training. So those are 4 key benefits to high rep training. Now moving on to medium rep training. For this discussion, medium rep training is going to fall in that rep range of 8 to 12 reps. And there's 2 primary benefits to medium rep training. Now the first one is increasing muscle size. When you train with medium reps, what happens is you're physically making your muscles bigger. And this is the goal with the medium rep approach. And medium reps are one of the most efficient ways to get quality muscle growth. Now, number two is building confidence. The second benefit of medium rep training is building confidence towards lower rep sets. Now, lower rep sets demand more weight, and so making that jump from the lighter, higher rep training right to low rep, heavyweight training is not smart. So medium reps can become a stepping stone between high rep training and low rep training. So medium rep training, although it doesn't have as many key benefits that I want to point out compared to high rep training, it does have benefits that are extremely important to all competitors. So any stage athlete in this audience would be silly to leave medium rep training out of their program. And like I said, whether you are a bikini competitor sitting out in the stage or in the audience, whether you're a physique competitor, a figure competitor, or a bodybuilder, medium rep training is super important to you. And for mostly everybody here, it's going to be probably the set rep scheme that you use most frequently. Now finally, we have low rep training, and that means training in that 4 to 6 rep range. So this set rep scheme is crucial for a couple of other key benefits and key points. Now low rep training is best for increasing near maximal strength. And when you can increase your near maximal strength or your brute strength, what happens is you can move more weight in the medium and high rep ranges. And as a result, that means more total training volume in the medium and high rep ranges. What does that mean? You guys should know what that means by now. That means muscle growth. And that's what we're after here. So the strength gaining benefits of low rep training really carry over to you looking your best on stage. And that's why you should include it at a regular basis in your training programming. And that's why I include it in a regular basis in my GST programming that I put together for people in this audience. Now the second benefit of low rep training is increasing the skills needed to train with maximal intensity. Low rep sets are not the same as high and medium rep sets. They use a lot more weight, there is a lot more overall exertion needed from you, and the risk of injury, it does increase when you're getting under heavier loads. And so practicing low rep training and getting real good at pushing as hard as possible while keeping your body together is going to be of great benefit to you just in general as somebody that is trying to gain more training experience. So it becomes very clear that different rep schemes have different benefits, but that all these benefits play into becoming what I like to call a balanced beast. And so if you can have great low-end strength, that's going to carry over to medium rep and high rep training. If you can get real good at medium rep training, what this does is it gives you a very efficient way to blast out an adequate amount of training volume for muscle growth. And if you're excellent at high rep training, what this does is it increases your muscular endurance and it allows you to push farther during those medium rep sets. And again, that increases training volume and increases muscle growth. So there's no reason to leave any one of these rep schemes out of your training. And that's the main point that I want to get across. If you want to be a balanced beast, include low, medium, and high rep training in your programming. So obviously right now I would be getting the wrap it up signal from Tina because I've gone a little over my time. I'd be getting the old cane around the neck trying to pull me off the stage. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching my presentation, for listening, and what I truly want for you is I want you to take some time and research the topics that I brought up today, or you can ask me about them directly. And you can always reach out to me through the Team CSFP Facebook wall or through email at ryan@growthstimulustraining.com. And so it's important to me that you actually not only hear what I have to say today, but you actually put it to use, because it is going to help you improve your stage presence, and that's what this is really all about. So thank you again for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your seminar.